guys to be in the mix as far as the championship is concerned. Well, a rainy day at the Talladega GNCC. Liam Draper snagging the whole shot in this one for the XC1 class. And that XC2 is Grant Davis, the number one right there, side by side with the 246. Man, by the angle I had, it sure looked like Grant Davis. I don't know who got credited with it, but from my angle, it was Grant. That angle looked more like T-Rex. And as this one wore on, Johnny, this was just like the war of attrition, you versus the track. And this was the day that I think probably the majority of our A and B riders had.
Yeah, well, that was actually Ryder Lafferty.
Oh, that's right.
One of our top XC1 riders. Ricky Russell riding phenomenally in the early parts of this one on that Triumph. But Grant Davis straight to the front, not only of that XC2 class, but getting very quickly to the front physically of the overall race, and then pursued by Nick DeFeo, and then ultimately it was Stu Baylor who was really putting in the charge and refused to let Grant Davis get away in the end. But early on, it was the Grant Davis and Nick DeFeo show, with Josh Toth very much up in the mix as well. Those two were dominating the top three positions from that XC2 class in the overall.
They were, and we talk about it. I mean, it looked like it was going to be a similar day to what we had at the Big Buck GNCC, but that man right there just would not be denied. The 514 of Stu Baylor, and it was interesting, his post-race comments actually drawing some inspiration from Nick DeFeo. He said, I just thought about him charging and put my head down and rode his race. It's interesting. It's like feast or famine for the team. You have Stu, who will come away today with the win, and his two XC2 guys DNFs.
Yeah, absolutely. And interesting what Stu said there as he comes around, getting ever so close to the finish. You can see everybody cheering him on. This was the final corner. You paraphrased there a little bit, Mikey. What he actually said was, I watched Nick DeFeo just riding away from me.
Yeah, good point.
And it's, you know, when you try to push it, sometimes those mistakes come, and he was able to just find that happy balance of going fast enough to make the time, but not making the big mistakes. And you see your top 10 overall on screen. Give him a rundown, Mikey.
Yeah, so Baylor, Davis, and DeLong 1, 2, and 3, and then Mike Wachowski just off the box as far as the overall. Cody Barnes, Angus Reardon, Ben Kelly, another really, all things considered, solid points day for him. Chase Landers, boy, great ride out of the amateur ranks. And then Liam Draper and Caleb Russell kind of quietly rounding out your top 10 here today. Johnny, this is we're 3 rounds into it. We normally start to get a look of how the season